Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I'd be able to deliver my best to your inbox on a daily basis. If you like our watches, you can see them and you can purchase them on thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph, reference 49150, part of the second generation of the Overseas family. This is a model that bowed at SIHH 2009. We're going to dissect its functions, its features, and its fit. Fit comes first because a watch has to feel good before it looks good. Alright, so the timepiece is 42 millimeters across the round of the case, from 9 to 3, not including crown guards, crown, or chronograph pushers. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can actually see I've just removed my full bracelet Omega Seamaster, and this is quite a good deal more comfortable. The Overseas is relatively compact lug-to-lug, as you'll find it measures 50.5 millimeters with a broad cushion-like profile that spreads the mass nicely without pressure points or hot spots. I find that for a smaller male wrist, which I define as about 14 to 16.5 centimeters circumference, you want a watch that's about 50 millimeters lug-to-lug or less than that. So the watch wears well. It's also relatively slim, considering a chronograph and automatic winding and anti-magnetic and highly water resistant. The timepiece at 12.5 millimeters thick is actually fairly slim, and thanks to the sloped Maltese cross motif titanium bezel, this watch, which is otherwise in steel, will easily slide underneath a dress cuff, not just the jacket but the sleeve beneath. The timepiece has a broad stance on the wrist, actually appearing larger than it is. It's somewhere between a traditional Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 15400 automatic and a 42 millimeter offshore in size and stance, but I find it wears more comfortably and more compact than either of those. So the timepiece, all of steel, does have a substantial heft to it because with a solid case back and a paramagnetic soft iron inner cage, it is a substantial watch. You'll also note that the strap itself is well made, handsome and nicely tapered to match the taper of the lugs themselves. You can see there's even a little bit of a beveling along its flanks to match the beveling of the case flank. Now you note that there is a repeating Maltese cross motif across this watch, bezel, dial, crown, even the interface for the strap with the lugs and the screws fixing the lugs to the case. No spring bars here. This is how it should be done on a heavy and expensive premium active lifestyle watch. On the underside, you can see that the strap itself is nicely hollowed out with striations creating hollows that ventilate and aerate the wrist on a hot day, as well as removing material to make the strap more pliant, softer, and more supple. The deployant clasp itself is nicely made. As you can see, it's fixed in place, find your size, screwed into place, absolute security once properly sized. It also helps to prevent the use of a cuttable strap, one area in which Vacheron Constantin is way ahead of a number of rubber strap competitors. Looking at you, Patek Philippe. Now the timepiece has a fully finished double deployant clasp. It's a double fold, which I like because it doesn't have the one big up and over fold of a single fold deployant, so it's better for smaller wrists. And a twin trigger release system means it's not going to pop open until you really want it to open. So no accidental deployment, it's not friction fit, and they don't go with a cheaper clamshell mechanism. Vacheron didn't pinch pennies with this watch. Let's get a little bit closer now. The watch is off my wrist. We can talk about details, and there are details. The case is nicely made. As you can see, it's fairly deep, sheer-sided, and nicely polished, but there is contrast. There's a polished bevel that runs the flank of the case, unlike a Royal Oak where the bevel tapers at the mid-case. Here you can see it is full width, and it has a nice contrast with the satin finished hoods of the lugs and case top. You'll also note that there is a beautiful satin finish about the gray titanium bezel, and the bezel has a subtle but striking contrast with the steel of the case. You can see the difference between titanium and steel, and it's quite stark when they're juxtaposed in such close proximity. You'll also note that in between there is a vertical striation, these interstitial spaces between the flares of the Maltese cross, so every square millimeter is fully finished and fully realized. The dial is an excellent match for the rest of the watch. As you can see, it is, let's get super close here because dials require detail. It is a anthracite gray sunburst with sunken sub-registers, all applied white gold indices that are luminescent, a metallic rayhawk that doubles as a seconds and minutes scale outboard, and there's a subtle asymmetry about it as the chronograph minutes register is considerably larger than chronograph hours or constant seconds at 6 o'clock. I'm going to thread the crown out now because frankly you guys want to see, oh, there we go, I can actually show you from this angle. You can see that the double-digit date is Vacheron Constantin's addition to the movement. Doing business as Vacheron caliber 1137, it is a Frederic Piguet 1185, as found in, for example, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph and many Blancpain products. It's an upscale, fully integrated vertical clutch column wheel automatic, unidirectional winding for efficiency, 40-hour power reserve. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and thanks to that soft iron inner cage, it is robustly anti-magnetic. 150 meters water resistant gives it a stiff water resistance, rather than the somewhat borderline 50 meters of a Royal Oak 15400 or Jumbo. This is one you can absolutely take in the water. In fact, with screw-down crown and screw-down chronograph pushers, it has a 50-meter greater rating than a Royal Oak offshore chronograph. Why do you need such a rating? Well, because as water resistance ebbs and a watch ages, you want to have a little bit more reserve. The 100-meter watch becomes a 50-meter watch, the 50-meter watch becomes a 20-meter watch, and the 150-meter watch, well, that becomes a 100-meter watch. So you want more resistance built in, and of course the fully rigged ship, often reputed to be the Italian vessel Amerigo Vespucci. I can't confirm or deny, but it certainly is uncanny in that respect, but it's the image and the icon of the Overseas collection. I should also mention that the vertical clutch and column wheel tandem of the movement are a choice pair. Now, it doesn't have hacking seconds, but it does have a quick set date, and because it is integrated, the watch manages to be slim. The vertical clutch lets you operate the chronograph mechanism continuously with no additional wear, tear, or hazard to the movement itself, and again, because of the vertical clutch, there's no jump or stagger when the chronograph engages. It simply starts without jumping. A lateral clutch can be a little less precise, and the column wheel ensures that you feel and hear the selection of the functions, the column wheel being highly refined, a bit more expensive to make and tune than a cam system, but the only choice for an upscale luxury chronograph such as this from a house such as Vacheron. You can see and purchase this reference 49150 Overseas Chronograph Generation 2, sometimes known by nickname Deep Stream. See it and own it on our website. And we're back with the Deep Stream. I should mention that the nomenclature Deep Stream was a developmental nickname while the watch was being designed, this particular combination of dial, bezel, and case. It's never officially been marketed as such, but the name leaked out from Vacheron and it's stuck on internet fora. So if you hear that term, this is the watch to which it refers. See it with boxes, papers, and accessories by the light of day on our website.